Dear students, welcome to the course Basic Geotechnical Engineering, Module 3, Flow Through Soils, Session number 2. I am Raja Anwar Hussain, Assistant Professor, Government Engineering College, Raichur. The laboratory methods, constant head method and variable head method, determination of. In this session, we will be studying about field methods. Those are pumping out test in unconfined aquifer and confined aquifer, factors affecting permeability, and last, permeability in stratified soil deposits, that is perpendicular and parallel to the bedding planes. In pumping out test in unconfined aquifer, as you can see in this figure, you have main well which is having radius small r and drawdown as capital S, whereas small h, depth of water in the main well, and there are two observation wells, well number 1, observation well 1 and observation well 2. Their depth of water is H1 and drawdown as S1, and it is located at a radial distance of R1 from the main well, as you can see in this figure. Same in the observation number 2, its depth of water H2 small h and drawdown as S2, and the radial distance from the main well as R2. Where capital H, height of initial water table above impervious layer, and capital R, radius of zero drawdown, known as maximum radius of influence from the main well. As the water is pumped out, the actual water table, initial water table is here, you can see. When the water is pumped out, a cone of depression is formed, you can see here in this figure. Now let us derive an equation for pumping out test. Small r is equal to radius of main well and capital R is equal to radius of zero drawdown, known as radius of influence, and small h is the depth of water in the main well, and capital H is equal to height of initial water table above impervious layer, and small q is equal to rate at which water is pumped out of well, let capital P of xy be any point on the drawdown curve the point O at the bottom of central axis of well is chosen as the origin of reference. Applying Darcy's law, Q is equal to K into AX into IX is also 2 pi xy into dy by dx. Rearranging Q into dy by x equal to 2 pi ky into dy. Integrating between the limits, here the limits are small r to capital R and small h to capital H. The equation can be written as integration limits small r to capital R dx by x, which is equal to 2 pi k small h to capital H limits y into dy. Therefore, Q into log to the base e after integration r by small r is equal to 2 pi k h square minus small h square divided by 2. In terms of k, the equation will be k is equal to q divided by pi into h square minus small h square log to the base e capital R divided by small r. So the depth of water in the two observation wells are H1 is equal to capital H minus S1 and H2 is equal to capital H is equal to S2. We now have y is equal to H1 at x is equal to R1 and y is equal to H2 at x is equal to R2. We can write as Q R1 to R2 dx by x is equal to 2 pi k H1 to H2 y into dy. After integration log to the base e R2 by R1 2 pi k H2 square minus H1 square divided by 2. The final equation will be k is equal to, therefore q divided by pi into h2 square minus h1 square log to the base e r2 divided by r1. So this is the equation So now let us see pumping out test in confined aquifer. As you have seen in the previous figure, we have main well, the depth of small h, the initial water table is here, you can see dash line. So the main well radius is small r and depth is small h, and there are two observation wells at a radial distance of small r1 and r2 and at a depth of h1 and h2, and their drawdown distance is s1 and s2. As the water is pumped out, a cone of depression is formed. You can see the drawdown curve here. Now let us derive an expression here. So Q is the discharge and small r is the radius of main well, and capital R is equal to maximum radius of influence and capital H is the depth of water in well, that is above the bottom impervious stratum, and small b is the thickness of confined aquifer. Let P of xy in be any point on the drawdown curve So applying Darcy's law here, for flow through cylindrical surface of radius small x and height b, we have Q is equal to K into Ax into Ix is equal to 2 into it can be written as K into area is 2 pi x dy by dx. So now rearranging it as Q into dx by x is equal to 2 pi b K into dy, integrating between the limits as r, small r and capital R and small h and capital H. So can be written as dx by x which is equal to 2 pi b k, limits are here small h and capital H with respect to dy. So after integration we will be getting log to the base e, q into log to the base e, r divided by small r which is equal to 2 pi b k h minus small h. So therefore the equation will be K is equal to Q divided by 2 pi B capital H minus small h log to the base E capital R divided by small r. So here in observation wells, alternatively H1 and H2 are the depths of water measured above bottom impervious stratum into observation wells located at a radial distance of R1 and R2. So from the axis of main well, then we can write it as, that is for the observation well H1, H2, depth of water and radial distance as R1 and R2. So the equation can be written as Q into the limits are R1 to R2 dx by x is equal to 2 pi Vk, and here the limits are H1 to H2 with respect to dy. So after integration we will be getting Q into log to the base E R2 by R1 is equal to 2 pi Bk H2 minus H1. So therefore it can be written as, in terms of K, Q divided by 2 pi B H2 minus H1 log to the base E R2 by R1. So here this is the equation, final equation for pumping out test in confined aquifers. So I hope you have understood the pumping out test in confined and unconfined aquifers. Now let us see the factors affecting permeability. So some of the important factors that affect permeability of soils are voids ratio, grain size, structure and stratification, temperature, properties of pore fluid and entrapped air and organic impurities. So now let us see one by one these properties. So the voids ratio, number one is the voids ratio. So here to estimate K at voids ratio other than the test voids ratios, so we have equation here, K1 is equal to K2 C1 E2 EQ divided by 1 plus E2, where C1 and C2 depend on the soil structure. So it can be written as, another relationship which has been found to be useful in sand are K1 is equal to K2, which is equal to C2I E1 square, which is 2. So therefore K is equal to K into E minus 1 whole square. So here in voids ratio, as the voids are more, the moisture content found it will be more. So in case of grain size, second factor it is, as of the size of the particle increases, the voids also changes. As there are different types of soils are there. Some are fine grained soils and some are coarse grained soils. In fine grained soils, the pores or the voids are very less, so the storage of water or the moisture content found, it is very less. Whereas in case of coarse grained soils, like example sand, gravel, the voids, because of the grain size, the voids found in these type of soils are more, so the moisture content found in these types of soil will be more. So the third factor is structure and stratification. So this is also important factor affecting permeability. It is represented in the form of coefficient C for the soil at the same void ratio. Permeability may vary with different methods of placement or compaction of grains, resulting in different arrangement and shapes of voids. So the fourth factor is temperature. So the coefficient of permeability K which is the quantity K which is dependent on temperature and a function of the voids ratio E, is expressed as K dash is equal to C into unit weight of water divided by mu, where C is constant which is independent of temperature. So the other factor is properties of pore fluid, so the permeability would depend inversely upon the viscosity of the pore fluid, which is generally water. With increasing temperature, viscosity decreases and hence permeability increases. So and the last factor it is entrapped air and organic impurities. So these factors obstruct the flow in the soil voids and hence reduce the permeability. So complete saturation of soil sample should be done before performing a permeability test. So these were some of the factors affecting permeability. So the next is permeability of stratified soil deposits. So here in nature, the soil mass may consist of several layer deposits, one above the other. The bedding planes may be horizontal, inclined or vertical. Each layer assumed to be homogeneous and isotropic has its own value of coefficient of permeability. So the average permeability of the whole deposit will depend upon the direction of flow with relation to the direction of the bedding planes. So when a subsoil in the field consists of a number of strata which have different permeabilities, calculation of seepage through such a stratified deposit requires the computation of average value of K applicable for the whole deposit. There are two such average values, that is the average horizontal coefficient of permeability when the flow is parallel to strata and the average vertical coefficient of permeability when the flow is normal to the strata. Now let us see one by one, that is parallel and perpendicular to these bedding planes. So here we have in this figure average permeability parallel to the bedding plane. So in this figure you can see there are total 4 layers having depth of Z1, Z2, Z3 and n number of layers, that is Zn, and having each velocity for these layers as V1, V2, V3 and Vn, and the coefficient of permeability as K1, small k1, K2, K3 and Kn, and the discharge is small q1, q2, q3 respectively. So when the water is passed down here, so now let us see the equation for permeability parallel to the bedding planes. For the flow to be parallel to the bedding planes, the hydraulic gradient I, small I, will be the same for all the layers. Since V is equal to Ki, K is different, the velocity of flow will be different in different layers. So let Kx is equal to average permeability of the soil deposit parallel to the bedding plane so therefore total discharge through the soil deposit is equal to sum of discharge through the individual layers. So then Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 up to Qn or Q is equal to K into Xi Z, or it can also be written as, so we have here total 4 layers as you have seen in the previous figure. So that can be written as, Q1 can be written as K1 into I and Z1 plus K2I into Z2 plus K3I into Z3, that is Kn into I into Zn, or Kx is equal to K1 Z1 plus K2 Z2 K3 Z3, where here we can take it as I as common on both sides and it's get